Okay.
Hang on.
So today our goal is to
good.
finish 7-2. That homework will be due on Wednesday. And then we're going to do a practice over what we have learned in 7-2. So if you remember our last class, we were doing adding matrices and multiplying them and that kind of stuff. And we're going to review all that. But first we have to finish this. So in section 7-2,
4B.
we're ready for 4B. So B is the matrix. 6, 3, 0, -4. That is the matrix for B. And we are going to find the inverse of B. We did problem A last time. Did anybody write down the steps for problem A? How do we find the inverse? There are a couple of different steps. What do we have to do?
On the DET.
That's called the determinant.
And then you put it over whatever that number is.
Okay, so let's do that first. Let me get my attendance here. Looks like Lexi's out. Okay.
Dana's sick.
Dana, Caitlin.
Everybody here. Day after her birthday. Yeah.
So the first thing we do is find our determinant, which is -24 minus 0. Remember? Multiply, subtract. So -24 minus 0. That's my determinant. Now, the next thing I do is create a new matrix. Anybody remember how that worked? These two flip-flopped.
Rows become columns, columns become rows.
No, well, be careful with that. Be careful with that. Yes, in this case, yes, but not always, so watch that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We flip off those two. And then I have to change the sign on these. Now, 0, 0, that's a positive, so I'm going to make it a negative.
Yep.
And then I'm going to take my new matrix and divide everything by -24. And then reduce. So I'll get 1/6, 1/8, 0, and -1/4. That is my inverse. Nothing about this part of the unit is hard. It's just you have to remember the process. Now, C is a big one. So we are going to find the inverse of C on our calculator. In the old days, we had to do this by hand, but now we've bought a calculator that will do it for us, okay? So, everybody paying attention. That's the matrix for finding the inverse of it. All right, so we're going to go into second matrix. So can everybody find that? Second matrix. Matrix is right here, where my finger is. So you need second matrix. Okay? Now you want to edit. So you're going to go over to the edit option and press enter. The first thing the calculator wants to know is how big a matrix you're putting in. Well, what are the dimensions of this?
3 by 3.
So you hit 3, enter, 3, enter. And then it will create a 3 by 3 matrix for you to put the numbers in. If you have used your calculator before or someone has, there may already be numbers in there. Who cares? Type on top of them. So we are going to start typing in these numbers. So 1, enter, -1, and make sure you're using the negative sign, not the minus. 2, 0, 3, -1, 1, 4, 0. All right, you got it in?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, As soon as you type that last number and hit enter, you're going to quit out of there. So second, quit. We're gone. We don't want to be in matrix anymore. Matrix edit. We already got everything in. All right? Now, go back into matrix. So second, matrix. Hit enter, and it will pull, now it'll call it A, but for us it's C, but it doesn't matter. The calculator called it A, and it pulls up A. You want the inverse. So the actual matrix button is the inverse button. Just don't do second. Just hit inverse, and it puts that little -1 up there. Now press enter, and it gives you your inverse matrix. -4, -8, 5, 1, 2, -1, 3, 5, -3.
Why would you learn it on I know,
Did anybody else get this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I got.
Okay, yeah. If you, one little number, one negative, one long number, it's gonna give you a totally different answer.
Should we do a D on our calculator too?
Now, let's talk about D. Go ahead and try D on your calculator. Now, you're gonna put in this matrix, and I would just put it right in the A spot. I always just use A for everything.
Okay.
Now, when you go in though, it's gonna ask you for the dimensions. What are the dimensions? 2 by 3, so make sure you change that, because then you're going to put in those numbers.
What is it?
The 2 by 3.
Yeah, 2 by 3.
And then once you get all the numbers in and you press enter on that last number, you're gonna quit. So second, quit. And then you're gonna go back in. Right? And you're gonna hit enter, that pulls up A, put the inverse on it, and what does it say? Error.
Oh.
You might remember
There's your answer.
on Friday, or whatever the last day was, I told you that you can only find the determinant. You can only do a determinant if the matrix is square. Since finding an inverse involves finding a determinant, guess what? If it's not square, there's no inverse.
Wow.
If it's not square, there's no inverse.
Something new about it.
Better
There's
ball,
a
ain't it?
procedure you can do.
Better ball?
Yeah.
Yo, big game is more.
We're not gonna mess with it.
That's what you're right. That's 18. Next strike is that.
We don't need to do it there. Okay, one more problem, number 5. This is a 2 by 2. Do it by hand. So go through the steps. For number 5, go through the steps. What is step 1? Find the determinant. What did it turn out to be, you guys?
0.
Okay, whoa, stop.
Whoa.
That's a problem. Why is it a problem that the determinant came out to be 0? Because aren't we going to be dividing by that number?
That's undefined.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No inverse. This matrix doesn't have an inverse because its determinant is 0, and you can't divide by 0.
So with that, would you do the zero with the cross through
Yes.
it, or?
No answer, no inverse. They're called non-inverted. Okay, now, we're going to skip a little bit here. We'll do it tomorrow, but I put something else on your quiz. I wanna make sure we go over it. So in 7.3, go to number 3, where it says solve using Kramer's rule. So this is 7.3 notes, number 3, solve with Kramer's rule. look at this problem, I would think that immediately substitution or elimination would come into your head.
Yeah.
And you can get the answer using those methods, but that's not what the directions say. We need to use something called Kramer's rule. It's very, very easy, all right? Here's how, here's how it works, it's real easy. Make a determinant of the x's and y's, just the x's and y's. So 3, -7, 2, and 1. Obviously, they have to be lined up. You want x's lined up and y's lined up. All right, then you evaluate it. So 3 minus -14, did you get 17?
Yep.
Now, that's a system of equations. If you did substitution or elimination on it, you would come up with an x value and a y value, which we write as an ordered pair, because we're looking for where they cross, right? The answer to the question is going to be 2 fractions, and they're both gonna have 17 as your denominator. This number, when you do your x, your diagonal thing here, your determinant, that whatever you get is gonna be the denominator of both x and y. Now, what about the numerators? Well, it's so simple, you aren't gonna believe it. To find the x numerator, go back to your original problem, cut these 2 numbers out, these 2 we haven't used yet, those 2 numbers, and paste them on top of the x's. So that will now look like 9, -6, -7, 1. So I'm solving for x, I paste on top of x. Then obviously, to do y, I will paste on top of y. So that'll look like 3, 2, 9, -6. Those 2 are gonna be your numerators, and you're done. So here we go. 9 minus 42. So what is that? -33. And -18 minus 18.
Where do you get negative 18?
3 times -6.
Oh, right.
And there's the answer to the question.
So like you can say like math is like wrong. You always just check it.
Oh yeah, you can check, the same way you check always, put that and that in here and see if it works out. Now, those answers are a mess, but, all right, now here is the nice thing about Kramer's rule. We're gonna do another example in a minute. Here's the nice thing. If I did the same problem with substitution or elimination, let's say I eliminated and I came up with x equal to -33/17. What do I have to do next? Once I get I gotta plug it in. What a yucky mess that is. So here's the nice thing about Kramer's rule. The answers can be as hideous as imaginable, but you never do anything with the answers. Everything you're dealing with is subtraction, multiplication, whole numbers, right? So the arithmetic is a lot easier with Kramer's rule. Okay, would you try B? Right now, you and your partner try B.
I'm a partner, but I'll do it.
Using Kramer's rule, find B. Do B.
Yeah, I already got that. Two more.
What is with you guys and your weird noises?
Nine comma.
With the part of the dot for there.
That's it?
Yeah.
Miss
Ford.
Did
you
Wait a
get-
second. Dana's absent.
Wait a second.
What did you say?
Did you get 9 over negative or 9 comma negative?
Negative.
Yes.
No, nine.
Yes.
So I'm going to get negative 9 over negative 1, which is 9.
Yep.
And I'm going to get 26 over negative 1, which is negative 26. So you're, how'd you get 16?
You did.
It's 5 minus. You did 5 minus 1.
I did. Yeah. That's me.
All right, so we're going to pause there in the notes, and we're going to look at our practice for this.
Pause there. And once you agree with one.
Yo, Elijah, bro. Now you're getting
All righty. Here we go. This is what your quiz is going to look like. Now, you'll notice there is nothing on the back. There's going to be something on the back. There just isn't right here. So here we go. Number 1. Solve.
I said we do elimination.
whichever one you want.
Yep, you can solve it however you want.
Elimination.
You can't do Kramer's rule because you have to have X, X, Y, Y. You can't have any other random things. So Kramer's rule's out for number 1, but
Solve the top like
we could multiply the top by 2. All right, that'll work.
Show.
Okay, so I'm gonna have 10x squared minus 2y equals 6. The y's cancel, and now I'm left with 10x squared plus 3x. These don't add. So it's 10x squared plus 3x equals 13.
Back here.
Well, move
Oh,
the 13
move
over. And then hope like heck it factors. If it doesn't, we'll need the quadratic formula. I'm gonna
It's
try
10x
10x
plus-
13.
Are they both minus?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then remember that your answer's gonna be like that one. You're gonna have 2 answers. I mean, you're gonna have an X and Y. And actually, there's gonna be 2 of them because X can either be negative 13 tenths or 1. That's what X came out to equal when I did my elimination. Alright, so now what do I do? I'm gonna go back to this equation.
We got that one.
If I plug in 1, that will be the easiest one. If I plug in 1, it looks like Y is gonna be 2. But then I gotta plug in negative 13 tenths.
Great.
So 3 times negative 13/10 plus 2y equals 7. So negative 39/10 plus 2y equals 70/10.
Put a 10 under that 2 wall.
Make that 20y over 10.
You got it.
So negative 39 plus 20y equals 70. See what Elijah's doing? He multiplied everything by 10 to get rid of the denominators.
That makes sense.
So 20y equals 109. And y equals 109 over. Ronan,
On this list, can we choose if we want to use,
can you choose what?
like, substitution?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know if that's too late.
Absolutely. The only ones you can't are the ones that say Kramer's rules. Okay, everybody all right with that?
Will we have our calculator for the entire?
You want a baby? All right, here we go. Letter A. What does this make? B sub 2, 1. Oh my. Go to matrix B and look at the number that is in the second row, first column.
Oh, I
The
thought we were.
number in the second row, first column.
Two.
Second row, first column is 2. Here's the rows,
Second row,
go to the
first
second
column.
row, first column, that's 2. What are the dimensions of A?
2 by 3.
2 by 3. What is the transpose of A?
Oh.
That means
Five negative 1, 1, negative 2, 0.
that row 1 becomes column 1, and row 2 becomes column 2.
That's it, Dean. I'm sure we're gonna.
All right? C minus 2D.
You got time?
Now, can I do it before I write it all down?
Yes.
Can I do it?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can. So I will write down C, which is 1, negative 1, negative 2, 3. And I'm gonna subtract 2 D's. So 2 D's would be negative 2, 10, 8, and 6. Would everyone agree that right there is 2 D's? And my job is to take C and subtract that. So the answer, 1 minus negative 2,
1, 2, 3.
negative 1 minus 10, negative 2 minus 8, and 3 minus 6. There we go. There's the answer to the question. Is there anyone that's got a question about that? All right, AB,
Obviously, they have the same dimension.
I gotta see, I've already checked, I can do it, so we'll talk about Y here in a minute. There's A,
Yeah, I got you.
here's B.
It's 2 by 3, 3.
No. 2 by 3. Oh, 3 by 3.
Now.
Yeah, there's a comma.
We are multiplying, boys and girls.
Yeah.
When we multiply, they don't have to match. What has to match
One of the numbers
is
on the
the
end.
one in the middle. So this is a 2 by 3, 2 rows, 3 columns. This is a 3 by 3, and those match. So therefore, I can do it. And the answer will be another 2 by 3. So from the other day, remember that we always multiply row times column. It's always in that order, rows times columns. So row 1 is 1, negative 1, 5. Column 1 is 1, 2, 3. Remember doing this the other day? We multiply the pairs and add them up. So what do we have?
About 1.
14? Now you are going to do all the rest of them exactly the same way. So this guy will be row 1, column 2, and so on. All right, go ahead, you and your partner, figure those out.
Alright, so minus 1. Minus 5.
Negative 7.
Negative 7.
Is that negative 7 in the legend?
That's what I got. That's what I got. That's what I got.
You guys got negative 7.
Yeah.
You got 3.
I,
You got 0.
yo, fries. Fries. Tell me the rest of it.
That's 2.
Hang on.
I got
48.
Or,
that clears 12.
Should be 3 zeros.
what'd you get for
Minus 1.
28.
You right, 28.
I'm always right.
Negative 7 I got for a second.
22 and 10 is
What?
22 and 10 is
Bottom? Yeah. I haven't done bottom.
so easy.
What is it?
Ronan, you got them all?
No.
Do the bottom now. Sorry.
You only got 2 numbers, and I'm on
3.
There's only
It's not a race, but we do need to focus when you.
How did you get 20?
20.
You got them all done?
Anybody get 14?
0
To the bottom one.
14.
7.
28.
4 times 2 is 8.
Hold on.
All right, here's our first attempt.
Wait, I don't have.
I didn't.
I got 14.
It's
2.
What?
I didn't get, wait, I got 14. I got 14.
So 14 you did get her, so yeah, we got 14.
No, the bottom. I'm talking about
I
the bottom.
got 28.
Oh,
Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
top.
How'd you get 2
I
on
got
bottom
the top
row?
of the bottom.
Just time
I
out.
got 14.
I got 28
And how?
there.
I got 6, not negative 4.
I got 2 here.
I got 2 there.
I got
6.
6.
And 14 we match on, I don't match on any of
I got
those.
negative. What? How'd you get negative 4?
I got 6 and negative 10.
I got-
Yeah, I got 6 and
I got-
negative 10.
These I believe are wrong.
I got-
believe these are wrong.
I got
Negative
6.
seven.
Negative 7.
I think it's
negative
negative 7.
So this is a negative
I got
7.
negative 7. Yes, and then 6 and negative 10.
Boys, 1, negative 1, 5, times negative 1, 1, negative 1. All those are negative, negative 1, negative 1, negative 5. So when I add them
Yeah.
up, I get
Negative
negative
7.
7.
Yeah.
Alright?
Yeah, I got 14.
That is not negative 4.
0 times 1
This position, boys, pay attention, that position is row 2, column 2.
Negative 2.
So that's, this one's 0. So that's 4 minus 2.
That bottom right too is a positive.
Yeah.
It's
Or
a
is it
negative.
negative?
It's a negative.
It's a negative 2.
That's
That
what.
could be why we didn't
Yeah,
match.
that's why we did
So
it.
that's a negative 2.
Yeah.
That,
Oh.
so that's gonna make this say,
I would've got
this
that.
say six.
Yep. And then a negative 10.
And then, yeah, I had the right numbers. And then that one is not 16.
Yeah, before she changed it, yeah. Yeah.
No, I had two from the start.
Yeah, because he didn't change it.
I didn't look at her number.
Yeah, I was looking at hers.
I looked at the one on the paper, so I got them already.
Yeah, shut up, clown.
I mean, I just, sorry, we can do what I do. We don't care.
Bad negative.
And what you get, bro?
Okay? Everybody all right? All right, now we're going to F, G, and H, which are all determinant problems. All right, F, G, and H. Okay. Let's look at F. The answer is none. Because we just talked about determinants only happen when you are square. And it's not square. All right, who remembers how we do this
Did you
one?
write the second two rows?
First two rows on the outside.
1, 2, 3, negative 1, 1, negative 1. Let's make sure I copied that right. Okay? And then we multiply and get 5. And we multiply and get 0. And we multiply and get negative 6. So when I add all those up, I get negative 1. Right? Then what happens? Other way. So this would be 9,
0.
0, negative 10. Shoot, when I add that up, I also
What the
get
heck?
negative 1, right? And then what do I do with those two numbers? So negative 1 minus negative 1. I heard somebody say add, I'm wrong, it's a subtract, subtract.
Ronan said it.
So negative 1 minus negative 1 is 0. So the value of that determinant is 0. Alright, last determinant, how do I do this one?
Cross
3
3.
minus 2, looks like that one's a 1.
Yep.
Be careful with your negatives. This is 3, this is 2. I'm subtracting. The determinant is 1. Alright, and then the last one on this page is the inverse.
Inverse.
Alright, so we gotta find the determinant first.
So first we're gonna find our determinant. And our determinant is, I got negative 23.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna hang on to that number, right? Now we're gonna make a new matrix. And we're gonna make it by flipping these two, making the 5 negative and the 4 negative. Right? And then I take my new matrix numbers and divide them all by negative 23.
None of them simplify.
Well, the negatives do.
Oh, yeah.
So D inverse will be negative 3/23, 5/23, 4/23, and 1/23. So one more time, if we're finding an inverse by hand, what are the 2 steps we have to do?
The determinant.
Get the determinant,
Flip
new
the-
matrix,
New matrix.
and then make a division. Right?
That was.
All right, turn your paper over,
Kramer's rule.
and you guys are gonna make up the equations.
Oh.
Because I don't want you to think there's any rigging here, these are random things, okay.
15,000.
So, Tyler, give me an equation with x's and y's.
2x plus 3y is equal to 7.
Okay, perfect. Jaden, give me another one.
3x plus 2y equals 7.
I don't know what's gonna happen, we're gonna find out. We're using Kramer's rule. So remember, that is all determinants. So what's the first thing we do? Find the determinant for the x's and
2, 3,
y's. So 2, 3, 3, 2, and we can do that. -5. So this problem's gonna have an answer. -5 is going to become the denominator of my x and y. Okay, we just learned this today, so let's be careful here. So we find these are your x's and y's.
Place the extra
That
7.
works out to be -5. So whatever your answer is, it's two fractions, and they're divided by -5. Okay, so now I need to find my numerators.
7, 3,
So these are the cut and paste numbers now.
Yeah.
So for x, we're gonna put them here.
2,
So it's gonna be 7, 7, 3, 2.
2, 3.
And then for y, it'll be 2, 3, 7, 7.
7 for both.
I got 7, yeah.
7 fifths.
So 14 minus 21, I actually got -7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that goes here. And then, 14 minus 21, I got another -7.
Yeah.
So the answer to the problem is 7/5, comma, 7/5, because a negative over a negative is going to reduce. All right, we're gonna do one more, so you got plenty of room on your paper. So, Patton, give me an equation with x's and y's.
-1x. For y.
Equals,
10.
perfect. All right, Ronan, give me another one.
3y, 2x.
Give us some signs.
Minus.
What equals.
14.
Yeah, bro, put the fries to bed.
I was gonna do like x squared, so then it would just cancel out. We would never do it.
All right, here we go. Now, you and your partner solve with Kramer's rule. Go through the steps to solve with Kramer's rule.
Got mine.
Yeah, minus -3, make it plus.
Oh.
Okay, 2 get -5.
5.
I got -5.
I'll do you -5. I got positive 5.
Negative minus x.
Minus negative. Negative 4. It's a negative 4.
Yeah, what are you saying, bro? Come on.
You're right. It's positive 5.
I'm a goofy.
We know. 86 over 5 and then -34 over 5. No.
Yeah, I'm probably doing wrong. Whatever.
You don't know ball.
Okay. I got 86 over 5 and -36 over 5. Wait, -36.
Joe does not know ball.
Oh, sorry, 34. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, it's okay. That's you corrected yourself.
That's okay, I just messed up.
It's okay. Now I know I gotta write.
14 times 4.
Okay, what'd you get for the regular number?
Wait. For the determinant, it's 5.
5.
Positive 5.
How did I get -5? You probably just did.
It's -3. It's -3 minus -8, which is
Oh, I didn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
34.
Yeah, negative 34.
Okay, how are we doing? What do we think?
Feeling great.
Okay?
I'm ready for
Let's just take a quiz just over Kramer's.
Well, it's on the quiz.
Yeah, it's honestly, I feel so good.
Joe, you'll somehow fail it.
When you're getting
I can't hear Roman's question.
when you're getting the determinant, I keep putting it the other way around, where I keep getting like Joe's the opposite reciprocal of it. I get like -5 instead of 5. How do you know which one?
Well,
It's just always the same.
You have to have these.
if I told you, Roman, right now, if I told you to copy this down on your paper, what would be the first number you would write down on your paper? If I said copy this down, what would you write down first?
-3.
What?
Like,
It's not even on there.
no, oh.
Yo, fries the
I thought you were like
best.
fries the
Yes.
-1.
There you go.
Whatever number you wrote down first, that's where you start multiplying.
I was just thinking I was solving it. I was
Fries, bro, fries.
Okay? All right, that is our quiz. Now we're gonna do something else on our calculator. Notice that for that, we didn't need a calculator. You'll have a baby if you need help multiplying 2 times 10 or something. But there will be no calculator work tomorrow. There will be on your test though, because what have we already learned how to do on our calculator? Find the inverse, right? All right, I want you to look at in 7-3, number 2. 7-3, number 2.
Homework or notes?
No.
Yeah,
7-3, number 2.
Joe, stop littering.
Too far. Oh, way too far.
That's so disrespectful. So that's Jake put
No.
Yes, he did.
No,
Yes,
I
he
didn't. Oh
did.
yeah, for sure. I pushed Joe.
Yes, he
I
did.
pushed Joe. No,
Yes. Yes,
I opened my
he
folder to
did.
get my notes out.
Thank you.
I didn't do it. Okay.
What
Are you kidding me?
What he did.
Push Joe's phone on the ground and
Joe's such a baby.
imagine bullying in high school.
That is. I didn't do it.
Isn't that so?
Yeah, at least once you get to college.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, come on.
This is going to be a total calculator problem. However, in order for me to know what was going on, you need to show me what you are putting into the calculator. So, the first thing you're going to do is write down matrix A, and it is going to be the coefficients of x, y, and z. So 1, 1, negative 2, 1, negative 1, and 3, 1, 5. Everybody see what just happened? Now, there might be equations where maybe you have something missing. And that's okay. If it's missing, you just put in a 0, in that spot.
Not a 1.
Not a 1. A 1 means 1 y, which is what I have. All right, everybody got this? All right, then you're gonna put in a second matrix. So this time we're gonna put in 2 matrices. Matrix A is gonna be the coefficients. Guess what matrix B is?
Answers.
7, 6, and negative 4. All right, so I want everybody to go in, go to second matrix, edit, and then make sure A is highlighted, and you're gonna put this one in. This is 3 by 3.
Second quit.
And then second quit, but then go right back in, so second matrix, edit, go down to B, And what are the dimensions of matrix B?
1 by 1.
Whoa, how many rows?
3 by 1.
Rows.
3
by
By
1.
one, so 3 by 1. Yep, so everybody get to that second quit spot. So now, sitting on your calculator are matrix A and matrix B.
Yeah.
Your directions say solve using the inverse method. Okay? Now, that's very, very easy.
Yeah.
To get your answer, you are simply going to multiply A inverse times B. So you're gonna go back into second matrix, hit A,
3.5.
put an
negative.
inverse sign on it, using that matrix button, hit times, second matrix, B, and your answer
3.5, negative 3.5, and negative 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I got. Go back.
Pretty easy.
So before, when we were solving our systems, we were getting an ordered pair, an X and a Y. Now you are getting an X, a Y, and a Z. That's X, Y, Z. That's your answer. Now, just in case you ever need this, those decimals are fine. I don't have to round them off, they're totally fine. If you hit your math button, math, highlighted as frac, hit enter, it will change those into fractions. You do not need to do that unless you want to, if your decimals are like these. But if they're long, 3.66, not 5, hit math frac, and that will change them into fractions. All right? You and your partner do problem B. Do problem B exactly the same way. Remember, if something is missing, you gotta put a 0 in.
That looks crazy though. Does this look like it could be bad?
And, Ronan, please focus, honey, we're doing problem B. And it's okay to use A and B over again, just type in the new numbers. You don't have to worry about making up new names, just use A and B again.
This looks kind of crazy. I don't know if I got it.
I don't either,
This does look weird.
I haven't
Did
put
it?
it in yet.
Yeah, there's no Y, so we're putting a 0. But the answer is crazy. Yeah, I am on top of it. Yeah, it did put the word.
Yeah, you're a little quicker than me. Which is fair because
I got one bunch of crap.
You get this?
Yeah.
You love that?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, so we're right. Now I know I'm right.
because I already
What if you're not
Oh,
right?
was talking.
I'm a fraction this one. Are you? Yeah.
That was a good one.
You got him with that one.
Yeah, that was good.
No bad. Do what I want.
Yeah.
I'll put my heart.
46 over 27.
27, 14 over 27, 17.
Did anyone get 46 over 27?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, as some of you have been discussing, this is a perfect example of where your decimals turn out crazy.
Yeah, you gotta.
So if you math, just push your math button and then frac, it'll give you the fractions. And the fractions, you don't have to round off them. So the answer is 46/27, 14/27,
17/9.
17/9.
Veto.
Okay? So now we know how to do that with our calculators. Tomorrow, whenever I see you again, we'll learn how to do it without the calculator. Huh? What's wrong? You're not paying attention.
Like just keep it in one, like don't separate it, like keep it all together. Okay. And then just hit. Like finish eating it and it's moving right now.
What, the whole thing?
Yeah, just the last time we
All right, quiz on Wednesday. Homework 7-2 is due on Wednesday.
I just looked at your one page because I was